Okay. Ah, well, I'm late today. I've been preparing a Bible study, which is one of the most important Bible studies I ever did, I'm sure. But I've got to clean my glasses. And we're going to get into it in a moment. I got to get my glasses clean. There's some sort of, I don't know what it is, coffee on there or something. Give me a second. So, I'm a one-man show. I think I got it. I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize it. But I don't want to sit here and do the Bible study with a blotches on my glasses. And I use the glasses to reduce eye strain on me. So as I was saying, this is one of the most important Bible studies I ever did. And is it going to be solid meat? Half. It's not going to be as hard as some of the studies I've taken you through, but it's not an easy one, but it's far from a hard one. If you've been following me and you know the different teachings about Jeremiah 30, Zechariah 12, and so forth, Revelation 17, who the daughter of Babylon is, and then I think if you know this, you'll grasp it very quickly. It's not going to be a very hard one, but it's a little complicated, maybe. So I'm Moshe. I'm coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. As some of you know, I'm a Cohen, which means, in the English, they call it a priest. I'm a descendant of Aaron, which also makes me a Levite. All Kohanim are Levites. Not all Levites are Kohanim. And the sons of Zadok should all be Kohanim, and in turn, Levites. But so I'm just gonna do a little work in the chat very quickly, and then we're gonna get into it. And I'll also give you in a moment an update on the war before we get started. But bear with me, guys. I got to do a tiny bit of work in the chat before we get going. Not much. Not much. All right. And it's it gives people a chance to come in. They get the notice, and they it takes time. They got to know the notice came. Then they got to sit down and log in, and it takes a little bit of time. Okay. So, what's going on in Hamas and Gaza and all that? Well, you know that the ceasefire is over. We're on the second day of no ceasefire. And we've been attacking Hamas in Gaza voraciously. I mean, really attacking them. I mean, big time. Okay? And I think Israel finally came to the realization that you can't just negotiate with these nincompoops. It doesn't work. They lie, they cheat, they keep negotiating, they never stop. And I think now they've realized they have to beat Hamas into submission and make it so bad for them that they're just going to say, here's the hostages, we give up, and that's it. Americans, let's rephrase, the members of the American Congress have been speaking, not just one or two, I think it's pretty profound, that they're contemplating withholding aid to various Arab nations unless they agree to take in some of these Gazans, which would include Hamas. I don't know if they'll accomplish that. The Arab nations are very afraid to take in Hamas because they'll know they'll rise up against them. But if they only take in a few thousand, it may not be that bad. So there's also no place for the Gazans to live. I would estimate now at least 70%, if not 75 or 80%, of the houses are damaged or destroyed. So where are they going to live? Nobody wants them. I don't know what's going to happen. Except I know the scripture is they shall swoop down on the shoulders of the Philistines. So they're basically doomed. Simultaneously, we're fighting Hezbollah, but not on a grandiose level. If Hezbollah decides to launch thousands and thousands of rockets into Israel, well, then Israel would do the following, in my estimation. We would deploy a minimum of 75 jets. We would basically temporarily stop bombing Gaza, except a little bit. We'd probably tone it down by, 2/3. We'd keep the bombing going, but it wouldn't be anywhere near what's going on now. Although the Israeli military down there with mobile artillery and tanks would keep the artillery fire going. And we would keep blowing up tunnels and destroying the entrances and so forth. We would have a minimum of 75 jets in groups of 25. Then that would probably be not 25 in one wing. It would be 5 here or 6 and, But we would go and we would be bombing them nonstop. The planes would shoot their rockets, drop their bombs, go back to base, refuel, rearm, go back and do it again. It would be constant. It wouldn't stop. Beirut would be up in smoke. Okay. It'd be devastating for them. Now, what I see here is the following. I don't see... People are telling us it used to be that Hamas has 150,000 rockets. Now Hamas is saying they have 250,000 rockets. Hamas is saying they got all these advanced rockets that could hit all over Israel, and they say they'll launch thousands of rockets at 16 locations, which are probably cities, maybe military bases. And if they did that, we would not be able to overcome the attack because it would be a swarm attack on our missile defense systems. Now, here's the other side of the fence. Do you think Israel is so stupid that we don't have surface-to-surface missiles that we could lob into Lebanon all over the place? Not like they have. Things with, 250 to 500-pound warheads that are going to really go boom. You think we don't have that? I think we have it. I know people in the military years ago that used to work on what was called secret missile bases. Years and years and years. I'm talking 30, 35 years ago. You think they discontinued those for some reason? I don't. I worked with a guy that was a brigadier colonel. I'm sure he's dead now, and he was in charge of what was called a secret missile base. He wouldn't talk any further than that. That would not be anti-aircraft missiles. That's not the way that works. Those are portable systems. Okay? So I think Hezbollah would find out that we have missiles. We don't go bragging. Now, would Israel have 1,000 of those, 10,000, 20,000? You got me, but I'd say it'd be many thousand. Because we would be worried about Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Turkey, Lebanon. You know, we would have a lot. Okay? Are they going to be way more advanced than what Lebanon could handle? Yeah, they wouldn't have any way to stop them. Okay? So, is Lebanon behaving like they have all these missiles? No. Is Israel behaving like Lebanon has all these missiles? No. No. I don't believe it anymore. I don't think they have that much. Now, Hamas managed to throw a few thousand missiles at us in a given day. They could probably do the same too. But what level of missiles are they? See, all these warmongering, terroristic countries surrounding Israel lie. So what would happen is Israel would, within at maximum an hour, I don't think it would be anywhere near that long, it might be 10 or 20 minutes, would start bombing strategic locations in Lebanon like it's going out of style. And it wouldn't stop. The artillery fire would be massive from the tanks and the mobile artillery. We're already having an army there. And I'm sure our army surpasses them in size and equipment. And we would fairly immediately roll into Lebanon. So what they would do is they would do a two-pronged attack. They would attack the cities because they're nasty and the UN doesn't do anything about war crimes with them. It's a war crime to attack cities. Putin does it in Ukraine. Nobody does anything about it. So they'd attack the cities like Hamas does. The UN doesn't do anything about Hamas. And they would try to launch a lot of missiles on the border, on their south border, our north border with Lebanon, to destroy the troops as best they could. But we're prepared for that, believe me. The answer would be an immediate invasion into Lebanon with armor, with helicopters and jets overhead, and we would push in minimally to that Livni River, I think it's called, about 15 miles into Lebanon. Every position they have, or we think they have, would be bombed, missile attacked, rocket attacked, artillery attacked. We can cover the whole 15 miles with our artillery, hands down, no problem. And artillery shells don't cost anywhere near as much as bombs, and we would just pepper the place with artillery. And then we would go in very quickly, very fast, because now they're faced with blowing us up with missiles inside their own country, which from a war point of view is not the greatest thing for them to do for a number of reasons. One reason would be that it would drive the people, what's the right word, up a tree. They'd be crazy. They'd be hating Hamas. Okay? The Lebanese army would, maybe if America or Israel gave them support, join in the attack again, not Hamas, Hezbollah, joining the attack against Hezbollah. I don't really think we're going to see that at all. It could happen, but I'd give it like 10-20%, pretty low. And we would keep pushing in, and bombing and bombing, and we may not stop at 15 miles. We maybe would have to go 25 to 40 miles. In 2006, we went 25 miles in and occupied it, and that would be the least we would do. The scripture is, Lebanon, open up your doors, let the cedars of Lebanon burn. Okay? Bombs and artillery cause fires. Once we push back in, which might take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, I don't know, and we cleared out that buffer zone, the vast majority of missiles they have would not really reach anywhere in Israel, and most of the border at Lebanon is evacuated. Most of the people left. Israel doesn't go to the door, ring the bell, and then point a gun at them and say evacuate. If they don't want to evacuate, they don't want to evacuate. Infiltrations is a concern. If they start rocket attacking the troops and they blow the troops up, then they could have infiltrators on motorcycles or, something like that. Little 4x4s come in and do another October 7th massacre, take hostages. That would be a big thing with them, is to take hostages so they could get us to back off with a ceasefire for the hostages. Got it? Just like Hamas did. Do you think Israel's not prepared for that? They're prepared for it. Okay? They're prepared for it. So the real answer would be, if the troops just stay on the border, they're going to get attacked with the rockets and missiles. If they push into Lebanon, that pushes Hezbollah into a quandary about, well, do we start blowing up our own country? They got a lot of installations near the border and stuff like that. So that's a hard decision they'd have to make. I mean, you don't see Hamas firing rockets at our soldiers in Gaza, to speak of little shoulder fire things, but I mean missiles and rockets, no. And then once we held the buffer zone, then we would keep bombing them into submission. I think Israel has finally seen the light that negotiations with these groups is fairly idiotic. And the only way to do it is to beat them into submission. Now, at the same time, we hit the Houthis yesterday. We blew up an ammo dump, which probably means a missile supply warehouse, which is a shot across the bow to them, letting them know that we're prepared to engage in 3 fronts: Gaza, Lebanon, and Yemen. And we're also prepared to engage with Syria. And that about wraps it up for now. I don't see anything else coming in this present day. Not, a month or 2 from now, right now, immediately, It's a, discouraging thing. So basically, Hamas, if they have these missiles, which they're not behaving like they do, and we're not behaving like they do, and they do a launch like that, it's a kamikaze suicide attack. Okay? It's a bonsai attack where they're going to charge the enemy, and like the Japanese in World War II, and they expect to die, but they're going to try to kill as much as the enemy as they can. Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, doesn't think like a hothead lunatic. So if he does that, Hezbollah, I mean, he'll hurt the cities and he'll kill people. But he'll also, it'll be over for Hezbollah. And he will probably be found and executed, along with probably 200 or 300 of his top dogs. Now, will the Americans join in with Hezbollah? I go 50-50. Nah, maybe 65 yes, 35% no. They probably will. They'll probably bomb Hezbollah. Otherwise, their threats are empty. And they're really here for Iran. They're not, but they want Hezbollah out of the picture. They don't want to see Hezbollah rise up. They don't want to see Hezbollah take a piece of Israel in the north and say, look at us, we got the Golan Heights or something, you know. They're not, America's not interested in seeing Hezbollah rise up. That's contrary to why they got 76 warships here and hundreds of airplanes and troops and everything else. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for Hezbollah to go down to the dust like Hamas. And then Iran is sitting there, you know, twiddling their thumbs saying, what do we do now? You know, the Houthis can be contained easy enough by America and or Israel, or both. And they are sort of now. And they're not a great threat to America until they attack Saudi Arabia, which they very well may not do, as I'm going to reveal to you later today. So that's the state of the art on that. Now let's get into the meat, which is opening up Daniel. The Lord started with me yesterday with this. Not started with me in a negative way, started with me in a positive way. I saw a post in social media that said that Iran commander or something announced that they're going to be patrolling the Persian Gulf with a consortium of nations. Now, back some weeks ago, while the war was on in Gaza, I think, at the beginning, China went over there and conducted naval exercises with, I think it was 6 ships in the Persian Gulf, and then left. America has the Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier group there, and has 5 Coast Guard cutters and 1 anti-mine naval vessel belonging to the United States Coast Guard there also. And the idea is to stop Iran from doing what they have done in the last year, which is capture ships. It's called piracy in Hollywood, right? You take the ship, you board the ship, you make the ship go back to a pier or a dock in Iran. You take the crew, which is usually 20 to 50, depending on the boat. It's not a big number. It really isn't. These boats build a little apartment house, you could call it, a little 4 to 6 story building on the boat. And in there, the crew has cabins. They usually give them 1 to a cabin. And the cabins are usually like a very nice, large size hotel room. They're generally not crap, okay? They're not little cabins like on a cruise ship. They got room to walk around, and usually they have their own bathroom. Not a kitchen. They have a communal dining room where they have a cook, and they don't eat like on a cruise ship. They got basic, you know, food. And it's usually a room with maybe 20 seats or 10 even, depending on the boat. A big boat, it might have 25 seats. And there's a table. They don't have waiter service like a cruise ship. There's a table, and he's got serving, you know, trays on there, the big aluminum things. And they have the salad, and they have the vegetables, and they have the main course, and some desserts and breads laid out. And the guys come and they take they get a tray, and they get silverware, and they get a plate or two, and they dish out what they want, and they go back to the table. They sit there and they eat, and they eat in different shifts. So they might have 2 cooks, depending, because these crews work round the clock. They can't just all shut down, you know. They're working 24/7 because they're traversing the waters 24/7. Now we got a rocket coming in. I don't know if you heard the warning, but it's not in my area. If it was in my area, you'd hear the land-based siren. I have my phone set to red alerts for the entire country of Israel. Now, if you want to get red alerts, so you want to know all the stuff going on with the war, blow by blow, you join me with Telegram. I put updates of at least 100 a day now that the war's back. You download the application called Telegram Messenger. It's free. Send me an email. My email address is israelgiving with the number 7 @gmail.com. It's in the chat and it's in the description box. The lowest line down has my email address there. One more time. israelgiving, one word with the digit 7 @gmail.com. Okay? And you'll get all the blow by blow on the wars. So Iran has captured ships, attacked ships, and they board the ship and they keep the whatever. They confiscate if they want to. They keep the ship if they want to. They keep the crew as prisoners or hostages, whatever. And then they negotiate or do what they want to do. So America's there to stop Iran from doing it because the Houthis are doing it in the Red Sea, which is the Suez Canal too, connects to, and that is hurting shipping. And America's not very interested in seeing that. They don't want that. And they're trying hard to stop that. They're shooting missiles down from the Houthis and so forth. America is at this point walking not so softly, but carrying a big stick. And they're not using it, and they're being very, very, very stupid about this. Very stupid, because it doesn't work on this kind of an adversary. It might work on other countries, but it's not working here. And Biden is scared, period. That's what's going on. So, Iran has been arranging a counter move. And this is where the Lord took me to start revealing the Bible study. Basically, he opened up Daniel 2. And I'm going to show it to you in a few minutes, and you're going to be, wow. So let me read you this. Let me read you this article. BRICS is expanding. They had a meeting a few months ago, and they're bringing in 6 new members in the year 2024, which is a month away. Let's see, we're in August. We're in the 5th month of Year of Recompenses now. And the announcement reads like this. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina, and the UAE are going to join the group of BRICS in 2024. Got it? Now, I want to point a couple of things out to you that is very important here. And now I'm talking about iron and clay toes from Daniel and feet. Iron and clay don't mix together. Got it? And clay is weak and soft and it breaks easy. Iron, no. Iron is also stronger than brass. Remember that. Brass is sort of a softer metal than iron. Iron's hard. Saudi Arabia is probably a stronger nation, okay? Iran, a stronger nation. Ethiopia, a weaker nation. Egypt is a stronger nation. Argentina is a weaker nation, and the UAE is a weaker nation. They're not a strong nation. So we got how many weak nations here? We have Ethiopia, Argentina, and the UAE. We got 3 weak nations now. looking for this article. Now, who's going to be patrolling the Persian Gulf, according to Iran, which I'm believing? Iran, China, Russia, India, Brazil, Oman, South Africa, and Pakistan. They're going to hold joint naval exercises in the Persian Gulf. Now, I would expect that, because I've read previous articles, it's not just joint exercises. They're going to be patrolling the Persian Gulf. Now, America is there to stop Iran from pirating ships and interfering with shipping and running oil prices up and breaking the economies of the world and stuff like that. Who uses the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, which is right outside the Persian Gulf? I'm sure they'll patrol there too, to ship oil. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia. 6 countries. That are big oil producers. I want to check something here for a moment. See if I overlooked anything. You could just not, yeah, I think you could add Iraq into that. I don't, well, Yemen also, but they don't have a lot of oil, but that's about it. And that would absolutely double, triple, quadruple oil prices in the world, which would break economies. So what they want to do to the world, America and her allies, is what America and her allies did to them with sanctions. Well, not so much UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, it's the other countries, okay? Now, so far, the members of BRICS are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Okay? When they add the 6 other ones in, there's 11. Now, we have an inconsistency with the 10 horns and 11 of them. But remember that this is not finalized. Sometime in 2024, they're going to officially announce it, although they could speed that up at any time. When BRICS first announced its expansion, I told you that what BRICS is going to do is it's starting out as a economic situation where they're getting away from the US dollar. The UAE just recently, less than a week ago, said they're going to trade oil for non-US dollars. Now, to America, this is a dagger in the heart. America operates this way. You have to understand this. They print paper money out of thin air, okay? Then they make the American taxpayers pay interest on it, which goes to the Federal Reserve Bank, the owners of which are not allowed to know who they are. And they receive this as income, and the laws in America state they do not have to pay taxes on this. So you could run around telling me it's the Rothschilds, the Kennedys. I don't know, and you don't know either. But these S-spots, big shots, own the Federal Reserve Bank, and they're reaping billions daily, probably. It's a moronic system, and it works without a hard currency, no gold and silver-backed currency. So you can't redeem your your government notes, the paper, for any kind of precious metal. And the more countries that start trading without the US dollar, which is normally the standard international currency, that reduces the demand for the dollar, and the value of the dollar starts going down and down and down. America can only exist with this massive military, this massive welfare system, this massive social security system, and supporting illegal immigrants. It could only do this by just printing money all the time. Okay? This is the downfall of democracies. They get into this wild spending. So America got everybody by force, basically, in the world after World War II to accept the dollar as the standard international currency. Up until 1973, it was backed by silver, a long time ago by gold. When Nixon did this in 73, there was a crisis. There was a gas crisis. It was pretty pronounced. The Arab states didn't want to take the dollar anymore. All right, so BRICS is presenting a great threat. So the country that's in BRICS that the Lord is showing me is not going to probably stay in BRICS is India. A couple of big reasons. India and China don't get along. China has severed pieces of India away from India at their border in the Himalayan mountains, 14,000 feet up. And they've occupied it and put big military bases with bunkers and weapons and everything over there. So they're not friends. They don't like each other. And Pakistan and India don't like each other. So India, Modi, what Modi does, that's the guy who runs India, if you want to call him a guy, he runs around trying to make friends with everybody, to get the best from everybody. Oh, let's get some weapons from America and Israel and Russia and China and do trade with everybody and all this stuff. Modi has extreme poverty in his country. People live in the streets, they eat garbage, they don't, it's a filthy, dirty country. And they still operate, with a caste system, and there's a lot of quite wealthy people in it, and not that many, but there's a lot of wealthy there, and there's a huge, vast amount of poor people there. People that'll work at hard labor for $100, $150 a month. It's really a bad thing. They don't turn the tap on and get good water. They got to have a water guy deliver it. Like you might have eggs and milk delivered. They get water delivered every day, so they may get a few gallons. And what kind of washing are they going to do? They're probably going to take a sponge bath, which is better than nothing. So, or maybe the water is suitable to bathe in if you put a piece of duct tape on your mouth and your eyes and your nose. I'm just kidding. It's a dirty, filthy place with all kinds of disease, and so he needs to try to fix this country economically, so he'll dance with anybody, but he's loyal only to himself. And when you're talking about going to war, Modi's probably not going to do it. The other mitigating factor is a lot of rabbis feel there's perhaps 100, 150 million Israelites, lost tribes in India. And I'm pretty sure there's quite a few. I don't have a number. The number could be way too high. I don't know. But it's not an insignificant amount. So India is going to get it in Jeremiah 30:11, where the Lord says he's going to destroy all the nations that he scattered the Jews into. But the Jews may be out before that happens, or not. But they won't get killed. The Israelites, I should say. So Modi's not going to stick with them. That gives us the 10. Okay? It's just not in Modi's makeup. Modi, I don't believe, is going to put warships in the Persian Gulf. I mean, to patrol the Persian Gulf, sure, why not? He'll go do it, you know. But to actually run the Americans out, which is the plan here, is Iran's the head of this naval fleet being put together. So BRICS is building a NATO-like object, let's say, right? Using you want to get in BRICS, you got to throw your military in. I don't believe Modi is going to do that. And I don't expect Modi for 1 minute is going to put naval warships in the Persian Gulf and tell the Americans they got to leave, which is the goal of Iran. He just isn't, he's just not tough enough. He's not going to do it. He could be overthrown. Iran could cause the Muslims in his country to rise up with Hamas, Hezbollah, or ISIS. You take your pick, whatever name you want to use. They're all pretty much the same. And rise up against India. And now he's fighting an external, Modi is going to drop out. Okay, Modi likes to take advantage of countries. Sell me a couple of your missile systems. I want to test it. And then, no, I don't think we're going to buy it. And then 6 months later, he's making his own. He reverse engineered it. He does stuff like that. It's very difficult to do business with the people from India. I don't know if any of you have ever tried. They're insane. Am I saying every single person in India is this way? No. But many, many, many of their businesses, and they're impossible to do business with. It's like negotiating with Hamas on a different level. They just grind you for money, and they'll talk to all your competition. It's like, they're like the people, two rich people are walking down the street, and a robber jumps out with a gun and says, your money or your life. And the rich guy says, okay, give me a minute to think about it. I knew a guy years ago that lived in a mansion a few yards away from Dianne Feinstein in a very expensive neighborhood in San Francisco by the ocean. I think it was a Sea Cliff area, but it was kind of like a gated community without a gate. They hired police at night. San Francisco has a police unit that are trained for several months, I believe. They're not really like full-time police. They wear the same uniform, but their badge has some different designation. But they have full police powers. They carry guns 24/7 concealed. And, if you pull them on a traffic stop, they show you the badge and ID card, and it says police. And they're police, and you hire them, and they come and work if you are a rich guy and you have a house and you want somebody there from 11 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, you can hire these guys. I think they call them patrol special. You could hire these guys. You've got to, I guess, go through the police department. It's so much an hour. And if you're a good guy, if you're a cartel, they want to know who you are. If you're a good guy, they'll let you hire them, So if somebody comes around to your house to break in or rob it or whatever they're going to do, these guys got a patrol unit, they got a radio, the police radio, they got a gun, and they got powers of arrest, and, it's a whole different animal compared to a security guard, they get on the radio, it's, it's not, hi, this is Acme Security. I'm over here at this address and I've got a prowler. Could you send me some backup? That's a civilian asking for backup, maybe one small level above a civilian. But these guys call up and they give them their badge number. They give them their name and their badge number and say, I need backup, I need help. And then boom, they're going to get other units there in a minute, 2 minutes maximum. Because it's in the city, So that's in a horse of another color. So he told me about another person that lived in this enclave that was from India. And they got to know them. And he told me that these people, one guy said he's so worried about being robbed and losing his fortune that he wakes up in the middle of the night not to go to the bathroom to change his clothes and his bedding because he sweats so much while he sleeps. What a curse this money could be, huh? So anyway, let's go back into what's going on with BRICS. Okay. I'm thinking where to start. All right, let me take a quick look at the chat, and then we'll go to Revelation 17. Just trying to see if there's anything I have to do here in the chat. Wait, I can get rid of it. Someone said too many unclean spirits in India. Yeah, they have a ton of that. But so does America and a lot of the other countries. But yeah, they got the, what do you call them, the swamis with the yoga. They got it. They got it in other countries too. But I'm rather well convinced that there's a lot of lost tribes in India, and some of them make Aliyah to Israel. I've met them. They're usually extremely nice people, by the way. I have friends in India. They're nice people. I mean, they're not all bad people or anything like that. A lot of them are very nice, But it's a huge country, like more or less like China. The two big apples are India and China. So, okay, we're going to go into Revelation 17. And then we're going to go to Daniel. But let's start with 17. There came out of the seven. There came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, many waters means peoples. That's what the waters means, okay? Mountains are nations, waters are peoples. So this whore is sitting upon, she's running, dominating these nations, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Now, as you'll see in the last verse, the whore is Washington, D.C., which I've told you and I've taught this many times. It's Washington District of Columbia. The Columbia Motion Pictures, I better do it again. Please pray I get the strength to go through all this because it's going to be a complicated one, okay? Seriously. This is the original old-time Columbia Pictures icon. you could see there's a connotation to the sun god Tammuz. Tammuz's birthday is December 25th in mythology, by the way. And his mother is Esther, which is Easter. So you can put two and two together and tell me who worships this sun god on Sunday. If you were going to worship the sun god, would you pick Monday or Thursday, or perhaps you'd pick Sun Day? But anyway, this is their more modern rendition of their icon. She's holding the light. She's on a pedestal. She's a flat-chested woman, which makes one wonder. Short hair. Okay, now who is this woman? Her name is Columbia, as in District of Columbia. Now I want to show you where else you see her. I'm just going to do America. You see her in Great Britain too, but we'll just do it in America. And you all know who that is. Now notice that it has the pillars, which means it's like a Greek or Roman temple. This is a temple dedicated to this graven image, Columbia. That's what this is. Holding the light, holding some kind of book, and flat-chested woman with a crown. Okay, and I don't know how many stars or how many spikes. I think it's 7 on this crown, probably representing all the continents, on a pedestal and a pillar. Okay, so let's just cut through the chase. Columbia is the name of the Statue of Liberty, and the District of Columbia is what runs America. And it's a city. It is not part of the 50 states. It's a city administered by the federal government, and that's where all the nations meet. That's where they put their embassies. Okay? The consulates could be in Los Angeles, Miami, Boston, but the embassy, which is the kingpin, is for the countries, is in Washington, D.C. That's where they all put their embassy. Now, the nations meet in the Daughter of Babylon in New York at the UN. That's where they all meet. Rockefeller donated the land. I've been there. They used to take us, when I grew up in the Bronx, on field trips down there. Okay? Back then, there was very light security. I mean, it was real easy to just you walk around. Today, metal detectors, this and that. They didn't have any of that when I was going there on field trips. It was interesting. They used to take us on trips to museums, all the different museums, and it was interesting. When I did my first 2 years of college in New York, and I took art appreciation, and the guy was a really nice guy that taught it. I mean, he was, as far as nice could go, he was really nice. And I talked to him a few times. He told me that he only dresses in 1940s style clothing. Now, this was in the 60s, so you could still easily find that stuff. He was probably getting it used or something. He was trying to establish his vanity, he was, And he used to take us to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the whole class, and he would teach us about art right there in the museum. And, if you wanted to stick your hand on a Renoir or a Rembrandt or a Bruegel or a Degas or something, you could just do it. They didn't have problems about that. There was no ropes keeping you back. There was no covers, but just do what you want. And we used to see people there that were art students in universities, I assume, and they would set an easel up, 6 or 10 feet away from the painting, maybe closer at times, and they'd bring a chair and they would reproduce the painting and they would sell it to some guy. I knew a guy in Europe that had art students copy famous masterpieces, and he owned a nightclub and he hung them up in his. He had a cigar lounge in the nightclub and he hung these things up in the nightclub. It was funny. They look, they look very, very much like the original. These people are really good. Now, when you get into really digging deep, the brush strokes aren't going to work and stuff like that. I think the whole art thing is bullcrap. Okay, first of all, a lot of the art, the more modern stuff, like the guy who cut his ear off, Van Gogh, I mean, it doesn't look like art. Picasso, it doesn't look like art. It looks stupid, you know? But what these people do is they would make an artist famous after he was dead. So that would limit the amount of paintings the guy could generate or the gal could generate. Mostly they were men. And that was it. Now, a lot of these artworks are fascinating to look at, like Renoir or Rembrandt. So he did a lot of portraits and the detail was amazing. And some of the other stuff was more interpretive, like Bruegel, and, just show you the people of the country, maybe in 1600, how they lived, how they had a picnic, it's kind of mildly interesting, But a lot of it was portraits and stuff, but they weren't that good. Art students today could knock it off, no problem. As good as the master, So they waited till the guy died, and then they ran the popularity up of this artist, and at the beginning, they'd buy his artwork, maybe they'd buy a painting for $4,000 or $5,000 or $2,000, and then 5 years later, it would be worth, 200, 300 times what they paid for it. That's how they did it. So it's just a rigged thing. The art's not that much better than other artists. It's just they decided to run the value up so they can make a lot of money. You go back into the 1700s, these wealthy people with large houses, palaces, castles, had hundreds of pieces of artwork around their house. They had big ballrooms where they had 40-foot ceilings, and they might have had 4,000 or 5,000 square feet in the room. It was a huge room, so they could put 200-300 people in there and serve drinks and hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. And they would have these rooms, they might have 100 paintings on them of different sizes, of different heights up on the wall and everything else, And these things were not that valuable to them. They just would buy works done by various artists that look good and hang them up, or they would commission artists to make a specific part of, a portrait or a painting. I'll be back in a minute. But that's just another rigged system. That's all it is. So everything these S-bots did, even back then, was rigged and fixed, and they were all in on it, and you weren't. And that's how they multiplied their wealth. They used to allow for people like merchants and other people to not get very wealthy, but to accumulate a comfortable living. But now they came up with the Walmart concept, which put merchants out of business. Okay, let's stay back to the scriptures. So I'm in Revelation 17. So it's talking about the angel of the seven vials saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many nations, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. That's America. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's spiritual fornication, worshiping other gods. So he carried me away in the spirit to the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy. Now this is the beast that comes out of the sea in Revelation 13, not Satan. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads probably represent the 7 continents. And the 10 horns. We're going to deal with that heavily right now. That's BRICS. And I'm going to show you the chronology on this when I get there in Daniel 2. You're going to know it's right now. Wait for it. And the woman, now it's not the beast coming out yet. And I'll show you that too. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. This is great riches, decked with gold and precious stones. You know, there's billionaires running around in America. You know, 1 billion is 1,000 million. And there's people that got 100 billion, 50 billion. You know, they don't, you know, they want to take a vacation. They'll charter a yacht for, you know, $2-3 million for a week or two. They don't care. They have 10 houses, you know. They have hundreds of servants on their staff. They don't have to think about spending money. They can buy all the planes they want, the yachts they want, the houses they want, the jewels. They don't care. They just keep vanity. And it becomes a contest to show the other rich ones serving the devil how much they have. Look how much the devil likes me. The devil's not the devil to them, it's a god. Decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, a golden cup in her hand of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, worshiping other gods. And they also have fornication in the flesh too, with, you know, unspeakable types of that. Epstein, you know. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great. It's a mystery. Okay, the word for mystery is 3466. A secret. Okay, it's like a secret, but it's being revealed. And abominations of the earth. This is America. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, so that would tell me that there's going to be a lot of problems for Christians in America and other countries. And the angel said unto me, you know, which is Satan? They answered to Satan. That's what America's about. You know, it says in Daniel 50:51, from its inception it's been evil. Well, Ben Franklin, the guy on the $100 bill, was a Mason. George Washington, the founding father, was a Mason. Come on. Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her. Now, if she's riding on the beast, she's dominating the beast. So America is using the beast, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not. So he was, then he went in the pit, and then he comes out of the pit in Revelation 9. But not yet, he's not out of the pit. Shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. When Yeshua returns, the beast and the false prophet are thrown alive into the lake of fire. Remember that. That's Revelation 19, I believe, or 20. It could be in 20. I think it's in the beginning of 20. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. These are the people that are going to be victims of this whole thing, and they're not going to know what the heck happened because they really believe Satan's a god. From the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So he did exist, he is not, he went in the pit, and then he comes back, and then he winds up in the lake of fire. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. That's nations, well, more than that. It could be a nation. We can call it a nation. But it's probably the continents or something. But it's a big, when it's a mountain, it's big. When it's a crown, it's like a king or something. So this is a big thing. 7 mountains, and on which the woman sitteth. So she runs the whole earth. So the 7 mountains, I think, in this case means the continents, as a figure of speech, so to speak. And there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and he is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. We'll deal with this later. And it goeth into perdition is the lake of fire. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Now, I think this is BRICS, because it's saying, well, let me get back on this. Hold on. The 10 horns, which is kings which have received no kingdom as yet. The BRICS is the kingdom they're going to receive when they get it going. Okay? So you got to remember, you got 10 horns are 10 kings. And kings don't share their country with another king. So it's this big conglomerate, the BRICS, that they're talking about, okay? That's their kingdom. But receive, let me check the word for kingdom. Not yet. It's basilia, which could not just, it doesn't just mean a king. It's a realm, power and authority, like a UN, okay, but way different. So it's the reign. REIGN could be better than kingdom, basilia. Okay, so it lends itself again to BRICS hasn't really come into its own yet. Receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So it gets more powerful with the beast, but let's keep going. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So they become unified in this. And shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So they war against Israel, probably a war against Yeshua in the way they're not going to climb up to heaven or fly up there in their jets. They're attacking Israel. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are people, and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And that's what you're seeing with BRICS. They hate America. And shall make her desolate. That's Jeremiah 50:51. They attack America. And naked. You read that in Isaiah 47. The attack on the daughter of Babylon. She's naked. And shall eat her flesh, judging by what happened on October 7th in Israel. I expect that that's a literal, as in cannibalism. And burn her with fire. Well, that's in Jeremiah 50:51. How they destroy America really is with fire. It's in the scriptures. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Let me see if I can find you that scripture on the fire. Okay, I think it's in my notes. Let me look. What the heck? Oh, I'm in the wrong. Well, I gotta look this up. Hold on. See, the original Babylon burned down Jerusalem in 70 AD. That's the Romans, rather. They burned down Solomon's temple when they had the Babylonian captivity. So that's why it's happening to them. They reap what they sow. Jeremiah 51:58. Let's look there. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken. Remember, they got a few thousand miles of walls between Mexico and America. Utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. Well, I think that people are weary now in America, wouldn't you say? There's another part, I'm trying to find it. Let's go to the previous chapter. See if that's it. Here it is. Jeremiah 50. What verse? Jerk doesn't tell you the verse. Nice of him. Jeremiah 50, 32. The arrogant one will stumble and fall with no one to pick him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities to consume all those around him. Another scripture. No, that's it. It's the same one. Okay, so it's by fire, and that's a reap what you sow, because they burned Solomon's temple down to get the gold. They had gold painted, called vermeil, I think, painted on the walls and stuff. So they burned it to melt it, and then when the gold cooled off, they picked the pieces of gold up and stuff like that. Okay, back into Revelation 17. You can put questions up, but try to keep them focused, on what I'm talking about in the chat. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna get something. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can get out through the maze of doors. Sorry guys, I got myself another coffee. I got up early this morning, I don't know, about 5:30 or something. Then I worked on what's going on in the news. And then the Lord started giving me this. So this is the first time I knew this stuff that I'm giving you now. Revelation 17:13. These have one mind, BRICS, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Now, BRICS is forming before the beast is here, but it's not going to have the power. Okay? The beast isn't going to come out probably until after Zechariah 12, you know. The beast doesn't get destroyed until the tribulation is over, and the tribulation is on the nations. To the Jew first, then the Greek, the good and the bad, they're going to get that too. And I'm going to show you the timing on this precisely. Not to the day, but, you know, not to the hour, not to the day. Probably not, but you'll see the timing. You'll see, and it'll be real exciting because you're going to know. We're here! But, okay. They shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So they're already there with power and strength to give to the beast. So they start before the beast. One more time. These have one mind, that they get united, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Now the daughter of Babylon is gone a long time before they give it to the beast, but they have the strength and the power before the beast. Get that? That's why BRICS is rising now, before the beast. Silver platter. You hear this all over the churches, don't you? Yeah, right. No, you don't. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. All right, stop. Shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So he's King of kings, and they're kings. And he's over them. Verse 15, and he saith, I had a snack when I was making the coffee, and the chief smells it. So he says, where's my cup, Dad? And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore... Shut up! The waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are people, like I said, and multitudes and nations and tongues. So it's all of this. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which you're going to see is Washington, D.C., America, and shall make her desolate. That's what happens in Jeremiah 50:51. And naked, Isaiah 47, shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Okay, moving forward. Verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts. God did it. He gives them like a delusion. God, Jehovah, has put in their hearts to fulfill his will. He is God. There's no such thing as bad prophecy or a negative prophecy. All things work to good for those who love the Lord, right? If you love the Lord, all things work to good, including all these wars and things like that you're going to see. To fulfill his will and agree. So he gets them to agree. And give their kingdom, this BRICS thing. See, they have it first, before the beast. Give their kingdom unto the beast. until the words of God shall be fulfilled. You guys having fun? This is good stuff, isn't it? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. The beast, the woman, Washington, D.C., rides on the beast. The beast supports her, helps her. She controls the beast. He doesn't control her. He's sick and tired of her. He doesn't like the way the world's going. Why? What do you mean? Well, Israel became a nation in 1948. And now there's Messianic Jews running around all over Israel. And look at the signs of the end times. And they see it coming, you know. So he's going to get rid of her because she can't control it. She's losing it, the whore. America is losing control. It's not working anymore. Right? Okay. That's the deal. Now, back to my notes. And then we're going to go to Daniel. These are the days of Elijah. And we're going to open up Daniel a lot today. You're going to be like, really cool. It's really cool. One thing I want to point out, I don't know how far we could go with this, but it's interesting and it's worthy of a note. But don't make too much out of this. Genesis 11, verse 3. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. Now, bricks is brick, we could say, and they are slimy, we could say. I don't know if this is worth much, but anyway. And they said, go to, let us build us a city, and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, like bricks, and they have all one language, not like bricks. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Then he confounded their languages. So they were building the Tower of Babel or Babylon out of brick. Now they used the name Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But it could be they're trying to build another great city, Babylon, and build the Tower of Babylon, you know. It's something like that. It's an interesting thing, but I don't want to put too much into it. They don't all speak English in BRICS, and, you know, but anyway, I thought it was worth a mention. Let's move on to the serious stuff. Let's go to Revelation 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. Now that's Satan. That's an interesting thing. 7 heads could represent the continents. 10 horns he also has, and 7 crowns upon his head. But anyway, I just had that in my notes. But okay, let's continue. Daniel 7:24. Now we're getting into Daniel. Wait till we get to Daniel 2. Oh, you're going to love that. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after him. That's the beast after him. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So it's interesting that Satan has 10 horns and 7 crowns, which means 3 are missing. So some of these kings don't get crowned or something. I don't know what to make of that. And we can't confuse the Satan with the beast, so we need to focus on the beast. But it is interesting. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints. Now, wear out is Bela, which is Strong's number 1080 in Hebrew. And it's pretty much decently translated. It's used in a mental state to wear out, okay? It's not physical like getting whipped and stoned. It's a mental state is the word. Wear out. And we're worn out, aren't we? And shall wear out this, come on, I know, I talk to so many of you. And shall I write with you and stuff. Shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And he's sort of done that with the Sunday worship and the Gregorian calendar, and saying the law is done away with, Mosaic law and stuff like that. And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. Now, people say, oh, this is 1260 days, 42 months. It's not. It's captivity. First was the Babylonian captivity. Egypt captivity. Then the Babylonian captivity. Then the Rome captivity in 70 AD. And the half a time is in Zechariah 14, the great day of the Lord, which is Gog and Magog in the book of Joel and Ezekiel chapters 8 to 11. Half of Jerusalem goes into captivity. That type of event, half of Jerusalem going into captivity literally like that, has never happened yet. Okay? It's very unusual. It hasn't happened yet. But the judgment shall sit, so this is not yet the judgment. And they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it unto the end. Who's the they? Us. The believers of Israel. And if you're in Yeshua, you're a believer in Israel. All Israel shall be saved. Doesn't say the church shall be saved. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. He runs the world through Israel. Hitherto is the end of the matter. Okay, so now we're going to go into some good stuff. Well, I mean, it's all good, but I mean, we're going to get into some good stuff. So the beast is extra to the 10. So we'll go into Revelation 13:1 quickly. I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. So at this point, they were all crowned, so they all have power. Upon his heads, the name of blasphemy. So all the 10 are serving him, and he crowns them, because they're now in this kingdom that he runs. And the beast that I saw was like unto a leopard. These are his attributes. And his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and his great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And this is a sword wound, it says, but I think it's a spiritual or allegorical term. And they worshiped the dragon, which is Satan, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. Now, he doesn't make war on Israel, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, but in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have ear, let him hear. One of this beast nations or something gets wounded badly, but still survives. I'm guessing Iran. America's going to probably really mow Iran's lawn, but it'll probably bounce back because it's in the Gog and Magog war. Okay, now what I want to show you is where Satan gives the beast his seat and power. Now, some of you don't know this. Some of you are going to be very surprised at this. But it's in your Bible, and it's been there all along, and the teachers ignore it, so I can't help that. Revelation 2:12, and to the angel of the church in Pergamos. Pergamos is a beachfront type town near the coast in North Cyprus. North Cyprus is on the island of Cyprus, which is not in Israel, never was in Israel, never will be in Israel. And the North Cyprus today is owned, operated, and controlled by Turkey. Okay? To the church in Pergamos, write these things, saith he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. This is Yeshua talking. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. So Satan's seat is in Pergamos, which is in Cyprus. There never was a city in Israel named Pergamos and never will be. Some Bibles translate it incorrectly and erroneously and say it's Pergamum. Well, Pergamum was still never in Israel and never will be, but that's not what it really says. It says Pergamos in the manuscripts, the old ones, okay? And that's where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days whereby Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwelleth. So we're now told Satan dwells in Pergamos. And this is written about 2,000 years ago. So now you know that Satan was thrown out of heaven with a third of his angels way back then. He was already out living in Pergamos. And the beast gets his seat and his power from Satan. So the beast sets up his temple in Thessalonians, you know, that temple in Pergamos. It's inescapable. It's not in Jerusalem. Remember, Yeshua was crucified outside the gates of Jerusalem. I don't want to do that Bible study. I've done it so many times. All right. Now we're going to go into Daniel 2. And this is the oohs and the ahs. Drum roll. Okay. Daniel 2. It starts off, well, we'll do the whole chapter. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar, whatever the heck you pronounce it, dreamed dreams. What is it in Hebrew? Maybe I could pronounce that easier. Oh no. I mean, this is hard too. Dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. He woke up out of his sleep. And the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king, and the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the witches, soothsayers, fortune tellers, that kind of thing, reading the liver, you know, stupid stuff. The thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. So he's telling them, no, you need to show me you know the dream and then interpret the dream. Or he's gonna kill him. So he really knew how to put pressure on his witches. Daniel 2:6. But if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor, and therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servant the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. He didn't want to be conned by them. because he'll tell them the dream and they'll say, oh, it means the chicken got his head cut off when he was going the other side of the road, and then the cat came and ate the chicken, or some stupid thing. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that you would gain the time because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. This guy knew his stuff. Now, the unclean spirits were not able to come along and give these witches the dream. God wasn't letting that happen for a reason, as you'll see. On top of that, I don't think Satan had the ability to do this either. The Chaldeans, but Satan wasn't cast out of heaven at that time either. The Chaldeans answered, I don't think he was anyway. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician, I guess any magician, or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise and men of Babylon. All the wise men of Babylon. That word should be kukum. Well, kukum, yeah. It means smart aleck, wise guy. Wise guy, really. And when you hear the criminals talk, oh, he's a wise guy, it means he's in some sort of mafia type organization, and it also means he's serving the unclean spirits, like he's a witch. And they witchcraft people into gambling, borrow money from them, and being prostitutes and dope and all. Okay. And the decree went forth that the wise men would be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. So this guy is on the way to kill the Chucham, the wise guys of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise of Babylon, the Chucham. That's the same word in Yiddish too. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever. And that's the Baruch Hashem, where the Israelite rabbis teach them not to say the name of God. But that's not what goes on here. It says, Blessed, Baruch, the name Shem, Hashem. But then it says, of God, which is Eliah. Elijah's name is Eliyahu. The Lord is my God. It means, forever and ever. And for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealed the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babel. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babel, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus to him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? So the king wants Daniel to give him both, the actual dream and the interpretation. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, and the soothsayers show unto thee. Show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king, Nebuchadrezzar, what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came unto thy mind upon thy bed. What should come to pass hereafter? And he that revealeth secrets make it known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes, that shall make known the interpretation of to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This is a great image whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form was terrible. This image head was of fine gold. Okay, and we're going to get into it. All of this was just to say Daniel's going to the king, and he's not only showing him the interpretation, he's actually showing him the dream. No, but we got there the long way. Okay. Fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, and his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, and his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone. Okay, so the parts of the feet that are iron and clay are the weak ones. The iron is strong and the clay is weak. So, remember I read you the nations. I said Ethiopia is weak and South Africa is weak. And there was another one, 3 others that are weak, okay? Those are the clay toes. They're weak. The iron is China, Russia, Iran, okay? Those kind of countries. All right? Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands. Well, obviously we're talking about the cornerstone, the headstone, Yeshua. Without hands is a dead giveaway, which smote the image upon his feet. Now, what is this image? This is the talking statue that the beast and the false prophet get the people to worship. They got to worship this talking statue. That's the image. Okay? It's an image. I'll be right back. So I got to maneuver around you guys, right? Okay. Yeshua, when he comes back, throws the beast and the false prophet, or has them thrown alive into the lake of fire. The image is the talking statue. I'll cover that. Some might not be aware. Revelation 11. Let me find it. I think it's in Revelation 13. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's 13. Not 11. No, Yaffa, no, I don't have anything for you. Revelation 13:4, and they worshiped the beast, which gave power unto, they worshiped the dragon, Satan, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. Well, Israel, the great day of the Lord is over. All right. Battery changed. Well, I got to put the charger in, guys. So it says, they shall all worship him whose names are not written. I got to put the charger in. Not written in the book of life. Okay, it says, all shall worship the beast whose names are not written in the book of life. Okay? Well, Israel's finished. The great day of the Lord is over. The bad ones are cut off. And they were all serving the Lord. They shall all know him from the least to the greatest. He puts the law in their heart. They got a heart of flesh, you know. So they're all serving the Lord now. They're not in this. People don't understand that. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life, of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Well, you got an ear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience, faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast come up out of the earth. Now, he didn't come up from the pit, so to speak. And he had two horns like a lamb. This is allegorical or spiritual. He's like a lamb, but he's not a lamb. And he spake as a dragon, okay, as Satan. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So when he's in front of the first beast that the whore was riding on, he can exercise his power, and he gets his power from the dragon. And causes the earth and them which in it therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That's the beast, not Satan. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Doesn't mean he's going to kill anybody with his fire, but he's calling fire down. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image, a graven image, to the beast. Make a graven image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So this is the beast that the whore was riding on, and Satan is going to idolatry. Okay? You with me? The fire coming down is because people are going to follow the true believers because they're going to do miracles, and they're just chasing miracles. But they don't like having to follow the law. When they see this character, they say, oh, he's doing miracles and we don't have to follow the law. We could do whatever we want. And that's the trap. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So it's idolatry, sticks and stones. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark of the name of the beast, the number of his name. Okay, we're not going to get into the number stuff. All right, let's go back. Nobody really understands what it is yet. So let's go back into Daniel 2:34, I think I was in. Thou sawest that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet. The stone, the cornerstone, this is Yeshua. The stumbling stone, this is Yeshua. Made without hands. Okay. It doesn't say it was cut out of a mountain, okay, that I see. Smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them to pieces. Now, you got to understand what's going on. The beast and the false prophet get thrown alive into the lake of fire when Yeshua returns. Satan goes to the pit for 1,000 years. And this image, you don't throw it in the lake of fire. It's not really life. God let them have the power to give life to this. But he just breaks it and it goes back to clay. That's it. Why throw it in the lake of fire? It's not a real person. It doesn't have a spirit or anything like that, I don't believe. Okay, Daniel 2:35. Then was the iron, the clay, and the brass, and the silver, and the gold broken in pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer. Okay, now there's a lot here. This image, is iron and clay. Clay is weak, iron is strong. Brass is a little less strong than iron. Silver and gold is the wealth and riches that these empires, all these kings and stuff like to accumulate. And it all got broken to pieces and became like the chaff. Now, the chaff is the garbage on the threshing floor. You're going to love this. It's the garbage on the threshing floor that the wind blows it away. Okay? And that's done at the harvest. You take it to the threshing floor. So, like the chaff of the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, like a superpower. Israel. Told you you'd love this. And filled the whole earth. This is his kingdom. He's back. Yeshua came back to earth. You got it? It's beautiful, isn't it? I just got this a few hours ago. Okay. So when is what goes on in the summer harvest? Let's go back to Revelation 19. You'll love this too. This is just great stuff. I hope you appreciate it. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true, rockets are coming in someplace. For true and righteous his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore. That means daughter of Babylon is finished. Which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. So she does bad things to the believers. Watch for it. And again they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. They shall burn her and eat her flesh. She's burning up forever. And maybe she's not in the lake of fire because the beast and the false prophet go in first. So maybe it means the land continually emits smoke or something. Probably. And that's probably what it is, I think. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down. I guess it means the 12 apostles and the 12 heads of the tribes, that the tribes are named after. I guess that's the 24. And the 4 beasts fell down and worshiped God that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants, and you that fear him, both small and great. And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunders, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord God omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come. Now, you're married to the Lamb. New Jerusalem is, so to speak, taking the place of the Lamb, and that's your new home until you go to the third heaven. And his wife hath made herself ready. The wife is New Jerusalem, dressed like a bride, says in other places. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. We live there. And he saith unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Well, that happens when New Jerusalem comes down. And he saith unto me, the idiots in the churches with their pre-trib rapture crap think the marriage supper of the Lamb is when they get raptured up to heaven for 7 years. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God. And I fell at his feet. Yeshua's kind of married to the land, to New Jerusalem, and where he shares everything he has with us as we are his brethren. How could you be his brethren if you're not in Israel? I'm in the church, we stand with Israel. We stand next to Israel. Nonsense. And I fell at his feet. That's another gospel. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he saith unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yeshua. Worship God, for the testimony of Yeshua is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. Ooh. And his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him. Now, when you see the appearing of the Son of Man in the heaven, you see him as he is, the glorified Christ appears in the sky. There's no armies following in heaven, and it doesn't say he's riding on a white horse, dipped with his clothing dipped in blood. That, they don't understand that in the church. And the armies which were in heaven followed upon white horses, clothed in linen, white and clean, no sin. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. With it he should smite the nations, not the Israelites, the nations, because Israel's already restored. The Goyim, the heathen, those without God. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. So he rules the Goyim, not Israel. So these idiots say, we're going to come down from heaven after the rapture and reign over the Jews with the rod of iron. It's the nations he reigns over, not the Jews, not the Israelites. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. And I accomplished what I wanted to from reading this. So it's a wine press. And when do you use the wine press? But in the grape harvest, right? Right. Okay. Grape harvest. Back to Daniel 2. I think I'm in 35 now. And it says, then was the iron and the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and this is the image, and became not literally, like the chaff of the summer threshing floor. Threshing floors for harvest. What is harvested in the summer from June to September? But the grapes in Israel. You like what the Lord showed you? Okay, recap. Like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. So that would mean it's the summer harvest, which is the grape harvest, which is Yeshua coming back with his clothes dipped in blood to represent the grapes. Eat my flesh, drink my blood. You don't drink his blood, you drink the wine. You got it? This is the grape harvest. It's a harvest. What happens in the Matthew 13 tares in the wheat harvest? The wicked get cut off first. What happens here? The wicked get cut off. And then Yeshua comes from New Jerusalem and we kick back for 1,000 years with happiness beyond our imagination. You cannot sit around and imagine how good that'll be. Hanging out with Yeshua and the glory God of Israel in New Jerusalem with see-through gold streets and all that. Eating of the tree of life and drinking of the water of life. You will... Guys, you want to try to imagine how good it'll be my guest. It's not harmful, but you'll never get there. It's not harmful, but it's okay. It's probably even edifying, but you'll never get it. And the wind, Lord may show it to you if you ask him, but you're not going to cook it up yourself, And no place was found for them. They're gone. And the stone that smote the image, you see, you got to get rid of that image. And then how does he get rid of it breaks it up. And how does he get rid of the image was being worshipped like some sort of deity miracle kind of thing. It talks, it's alive. Yeshua breaks it up into pieces, scrap, junk, powder. garbage, ashes from a garbage burn or something like that. Just junk, right? He doesn't burn it, he smashes it. And then the beast and the false prophet, whoop, they get picked up, lake of fire, Satan, whoop, pit for 1,000 years. Beautiful, huh? This is the dream, and we tell the interpretation thereof before the king. See, we're not done yet. It's going to get rich again. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given unto thine hand, and hath made the ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. He's the head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Now, who the heck is that but the daughter of Babylon? It's brass. It's hard, but it's not iron. Harder than clay, but softer than iron. And the fourth kingdom, now this comes after the daughter of Babylon's destroyed, shall be strong as iron, for as much, that's BRICS. Ta-da! For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. So he's saying iron is stronger than brass, and brass is stronger than clay. That's basically, yeah, we got that. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes part of the potter's clay, remember that's probably how they're going to make this statue, with clay. And part of iron. So some of the countries, as I told you, were strong, and some like Ethiopia, South Africa, there was another one, and there was 3 of them that are weak. The kingdom shall be divided, and there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. He's not talking about Israel, he's talking about the beast kingdom. And as the toes of the feast were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. See, I told you the weak nations, they were going to get busted up and they're going to be divided. Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. They're not all in agreement in one accord. A house divided unto itself shall not stand. When you read Acts 2, all the believers in the early congregations in Israel were of one accord in the apostles' doctrine. When you start having other gospels and play games, preacher, miniature, poster, blah, 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 you start making a house divided unto itself that can't stand. Even as iron is not mixed, so that's another reason why the church is going to be gone very soon. Even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. Who's that? Hint. Starts with the letter I, ends with the letter L, has an R in the middle. Israel. Who do you think it is? China? Mexico? Come on. And the kingdom shall not, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. We never leave the land again. But going back to 1948. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. See, the Lord uses us in Jeremiah 50 or 51 to destroy the other kingdoms. Israel, when you see in Zechariah 12, the feeble fight like David, and the house of David fights like the angel of the Lord, which is Michael, the glory God of Israel, who killed 130,000 in one day, because we have new bodies, we have incorruptible bodies. When we see him, we shall be like him, and we see him in Zechariah 12, verse 10. First, the Spirit's poured out on the people in Jerusalem and the house of David, so they're believers. Then they see the one whom they have pierced, and they mourn for him. That never happened when Yeshua was hung on the tree. They didn't mourn for him. Shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. That's us. Yabba-dabba-doo, as Yogi Bear said. And it shall stand forever. And you're in Israel if you're a believer. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of, oh, it does say cut out of the mountain, that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it, okay, so the mountain, Mount Sinai, where the law was given, it would be representing that. Yeah, gotta be. Representing that. Not a literal. Okay, that it break in pieces the iron, the stone, the iron and the brass and the clay, the silver and the gold. So it breaks that image, the talking life statue, you know. He shatters it. It's like a stone, and it hits it and it breaks it up because it's not really strong. The feet are what it stands on, and the toes, and they're clay and iron, and that doesn't work. The gold is the head. Oh, look how rich we are. We're blessed of God, you know, or something like that. The great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadrezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation voters unto him, incense. Okay, so in terms of teaching this and delivering it, it was like a 9 on a 10 scale, 10 being the hardest. This is pretty hard. Let me go in the chat. I want to see what people are saying, if anything. Let me know how I did. If I write me or put it in the chat or something, write me. And if I have to clean up parts of it, or, you know, not clean it up, but expand it and reteach it, I will. I've heard from some people that there's groups forming that listen to me. If you have a group that's listening to me and you want me to meet with your group, we could arrange something on Skype or, I don't know, Zoom or something. I could figure something out. Or I could do a private YouTube for you guys. So let me know. But, I mean, I'm an old guy, and I'm like as old as Israel, okay? And I don't, you know, I mean, covering the war, doing complicated Bible studies, updating all during the day with the war. And guys, it knocks me out, okay? So if it's a group, I mean, a group, not two people. So, you know, I'll do that. But maybe, you know, I'm stretching myself too thin, but I could try it. The Lord showed me I got to be careful about stretching myself too thin. I run out of steam. And when you run out of steam, that's when you make mistakes. Let's see. Sits on 7 hills. No, it's not the G7. It's the continents, the whole world. The G7's not the whole world. No. The Saturday, Sunday, no. Forget that. That's some church nonsense, or forget that. Forget artificial intelligence. It's nonsense. Don't waste your time with that. It is also called Dragon Star System. That's meaningless. Star System doesn't mean anything. Okay. See if anybody emailed me during this. Somebody did. Let me read it. The question was, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. It could be Iran or, pertaining to a state or a head of state. No, I don't think it's a head of state. That's a person. No, it's a country or something like that. Same person says messages aren't coming in on YouTube. I don't know why. People tell me that from time to time, and I don't know why. It could be YouTube doesn't let you post because somebody complained about you in another forum, or you're using language that I have in my block list, which is 3,300 words. I don't know what else it could be. I don't recall ever blocking you, so. Oh, I hope you guys like this. So if any of you guys appreciate this hard work, I can now take PayPal. Just send me an email to israelgiving7@gmail.com and write PayPal. And I'll send you the PayPal information, or you could track it by the email address. And I also use Patreon and GoFundMe, and that's in the description box under the video. And please pray for me, Moshe, and my wife, Rivka. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, and joy, and healing. Pray for our finances, and pray for the animals and pets, that they all be happy, healthy, and whole, because they're all rescues. And pray we don't have to go into bomb shelters. And we actually have 2 bomb shelters on the property, an old one back in 1948 and a new, more modern one. And pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And if I'm not getting through to people, write me, ask me, let me know how I'm doing, so I can go back and, so to speak, redo it, lift it up, cover places if I'm missing with something like that. Okay? I need feedback to understand what I'm, getting through and not getting through. Some of this is, if you don't have a background in the things I've been teaching, are going to be a little bit difficult for you to grasp. There can be multiple meanings to some of these. Well, I mean, we could say that about anything, but I think I got it right, okay? You could say that about anything. That doesn't mean anything, If you try to put in a multiple meaning with scripture support from other scriptures, that makes sense. But just to make a comment like that, yeah, sure, but it doesn't mean they're correct other meanings. Tying it together with, you see, the kingdom is birthed when you read Jeremiah 30, which the church ignores, and Zechariah 12, which they to a great extent ignore, when they're born again, when the veil is taken off, when the Spirit is poured out on them in Zechariah 12:10, and they see Yeshua, and they become like him. And it says in John 6:40, those that believe and see him shall have eternal life. And that exactly happens in Zechariah 12:10, which is the appearing of the Son of Man in Matthew 24. And I think it's also in Mark 13. And that's not the second coming. And the church is completely messed up with that. They don't know what they're talking about. So that's when the travail is. And in Jeremiah 30, we see they clutch their guts and their face turns pale because they're being surrounded by all these countries and people. And then the two witnesses in Zechariah 12:10 burn them up on the right hand and the left hand. Those are the Greater Israel countries. Are any of the Greater Israel countries in this coalition? Probably Egypt, Ethiopia, I think, Saudi. That's it. What happens to Turkey is a good question. A real good question. But, Turkey, on the other hand, is so contrary to anybody. They probably don't fit in, Or something bad happens to them, I don't know. Let's continue here. So, when you start tying Revelation 17 and you look at what happens so that's when the kingdom starts to get born. We get Greater Israel back, which God gave us by covenant in Genesis 15. And then we have the temple and we have the priesthood, and Elijah is training the priesthood to make the offerings acceptable to the Lord again. That's in Malachi 3. And the bad ones get burned up. That's in Malachi 4. They shall be ashes under your feet, and we jump out of the stall like a baby calf. That's the eternal life. That's the incorruptible body. I mean, I'm putting all the pieces together to you, and now I'm fitting it with Daniel 2 and Daniel 7. And you get a good picture of the pieces coming together. Now, I've told you many times, the 70 weeks of Daniel 9:24 is pure poppycock. The first two words of Daniel in every single Hebrew manuscript I've ever seen says Shavim Shavim, which means there's two 70s. Okay? It does not mean weeks. It's two 70s. The first with the Babylonian captivity. The second, it says in Daniel 9:24, be on the people and your people, which is the Israelites, and the holy city, which is Jerusalem. And we didn't get the holy city back until June of 1967. We only had a small piece of it in 1948. We got it all back in 67, and they're trying to take it away from us. Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Goyim until the times of the Goyim is over, the heathen is over, and it's still trodden down of them. They're living there, they got mosques, minarets, worship false gods, and shoot people, and stab people, and car ram people. It's still trodden down. It'll come to an end pretty quickly. So, we're in now this I'm telling you, I did not read out of the Bible. I got this from the Lord, and you're going to believe me or you're not, depending on, if you want to know more about me, I have two references for you. One is Yeshua HaMashiach, and the other is Father God Jehovah. Go to them and ask them about me. You don't hear other channels say that. Do it. Please, I invite you, please do it. We're in the 5th month of the year of recompenses right now. Okay? 12 months is it. So we're approximately in the 5th month. I believe we started this year around August 1st. So you got August, September, October, November. Now we're in December, so it's about we're in about 5 months, in the 5th month now, beginning. So there you go. And look how things are developing. Biden doesn't know what to do. Biden is like, he doesn't know what to do. I mean, that's simple. Let's just take it literally. He's confused. And that's Isaiah 47. Every time he turns around, bad stuff happens. And what's he going to do when all these countries put a Navy armada together and start patrolling the Gulf of the Persian Gulf? What's he going to do? Attack them? BRICS is designed to destroy the daughter of Babylon. That's what BRICS' job is. And I don't think India is going to take it to that extreme. They're more fearful and careful than China is, or maybe more so than China even, I don't know. This thing with Hezbollah may be the pivot point that sucks America in deep to the snare. What they're doing with Hamas now is they're going to break Hamas. The bombing's going to go 24/7. Blinken warned them and said, you don't have enough diplomatic credits to do many months of attack on Gaza, so they're just not going to let up. And eventually these jerks are going to have to throw the towel in or die. I don't think they're going to sit there and say, well, we'll all get killed in the tunnels and we'll be dead, but the nations will be mad at Israel. I don't think they're going to do that. And please pray that it get revealed why they're still able to launch rockets at this, we're at day like 56 or something like that, how it could still be going on that they could launch rockets. Doesn't sound right. Something doesn't click here. I don't know. I don't know. So pray it get revealed, then it'll get revealed. How could they launch 100 rockets in a day? I mean, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Something's just not clicking. It just doesn't click. If Netanyahu ends the war quickly, his judicial reform is dead. He's going to have his trial, and the court's already resumed his trial, or they're going to in the next few days. So they hate him. They want to get rid of him. Things are going to get very squirrely in the next few days, weeks, months. You'll see. Lots of unexpected things. Lots. No, I don't think they're trucking them in from Egypt. That's not my point. I think they have them in the tunnels in Gaza, and they make them there. And some people in Israel say they had a big arsenal of them, but it's kind of odd that that arsenal, that section of the tunnels didn't get destroyed. And why are they still doing it? You know, they can't launch them out of the tunnels. They got to come outside and do it. So something's not right. Okay, it's too long. Something's not right. Yeah, God will show it to us. And I want the prayer, please, to be that it be revealed to the Israeli public. They're not going to all hear it from me. That it come out with the media and the public, that they know why the rockets are still taking so long to stop. I'm suspicious about this. So let's see. Let it come out. Okay, so I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. Wow, 171 minutes, almost 3 hours. That's a lot for this old guy. All right, so let me know how I'm doing with this, okay? And I'm out. Thanks.